are live. Good evening, everybody, or good morning, depending where you are in the world. So, what we want to do today is we want to talk about adaptation. So, it's going to be adaptation for dubbing, and I'm going to start inviting my my two friends. And our second friend is M. Marina. Just bear with us 1 second. Yes. Okay. Uh, we invited our two people. Marina joined. And here she is. Hello, Marina.
Hello, good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Yeah, we are in the same country, not in
Ah,
the same city, but in the same country. I'm in Barcelona, and you are in Madrid.
yeah, so you live in
I
Barcelona.
live in Barcelona now.
Oh, okay.
I'm becoming more Spanish every day. I mean, almost, and
It's easy.
let's.
It's easy to be Spanish.
I know it's very easy to. So you understand what is tapas, cerveza, and you're
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, and you're fine.
I'm fine. Being French is not very far anyway, so it's not a big deal. So, waiting for Carmen, I'm just going to announce this is episode number 18 of the Art of Dubbing Shared Secrets. We are going to share a lot of secrets today. And so while Carmen is trying to join us, can you, Marina, introduce yourself very briefly and tell us who you are because people don't know you. It's the first time that you are with us. So go
Okay.
ahead.
So I'm Marina. I'm a translator of English and French. And also, I started my career in dubbing 12 years ago now. And recently, I started my journey as a dubbing director. And I'm also a voice actress. And yeah, I'm like an actress myself. It's like
Fantastic.
my life is dubbing and acting and theater
I
also.
want
So.
to talk to you about that because although today it's a discussion about adaptation, I
Mhm.
want to talk to you also about acting, about directing, because you have the full package. You are like me. You wear a lot of different hats, which is,
Multitask.
yeah, which is great. Uh, I'm obviously most of the people know me. I'm Jacques Barrault. I'm the vice president at TransPerfect for media and entertainment, and I'm receiving a prestigious host like yourself for this live event once a month, once every 2 months. Will It depends, and we talk about what people do. So this is a Dubbing Academy live event. So most of the people on this podcast will be, or live event will be people interested in the Dubbing Academy, interested in discovering the dubbing world. So let's start obviously by talking about what so you are in Madrid, and
Hmm.
I guess you are a freelance, like most of the freelancers that work in the dubbing business. Most
Well,
of the people working in the business as freelance. Are you
no.
freelance?
Well, actually, the voice actors, we're not freelancers. We're like we start a job and we finish a job, and the payroll. I mean, is per month. So
Oh, I
in each
understand.
studio, you receive like a specific
I understand.
payroll for each studio. Yeah.
So you are hired for a specific task. You are not an employee of
Exactly.
the company. You are hired
Exactly.
for a task. Yeah, it's a little bit the same thing in France also. They work like that. So my point was, you are not an employee specifically of a company, and you can work for different companies,
Exactly.
obviously.
Yes.
So do you work with a lot of studios in Madrid?
Well, in Madrid is where all the majority of the studios are, and Madrid and Barcelona too. So yeah, this is like the epicenter of dubbing in Spain. So yeah, yeah, the work is here mostly.
So talking about Madrid and Barcelona, maybe you know that because historically, I mean, obviously, I'm a little bit older than you. Obviously, when I started to do dubbing 25, 30 years ago, uh, Barcelona was really the city for films, and
Mm-hmm.
Madrid was the city for TV.
Mm-hmm.
Why? Can you tell us why it was like that, or you
I'm
don't
not
know?
sure. I'm not
Yeah, me
sure.
neither.
I don't have an answer for that. But yeah, historically, the film industry and the cinema industry is have been in Barcelona, but it is like a mixture. You know,
Yeah,
Madrid and Barcelona share like the cinema industry and the TV series. We have a lot of history in Madrid of dubbing TV series, but I'm not sure why is this tradition is made actually.
yeah. I never really understood, and nobody was able to explain to me. Well, that's okay. Uh, so let's talk about your different roles. So I obviously my thinking is that adaptation is really the first step in the dubbing process. So everything starts with the translation adaptation,
Hmm.
and so how many adapters do you have approximately in Madrid, and do you what's the difference for you between being an adapter and being an actress? And after we'll talk about direction.
Okay, so yeah, I think that the most important thing for an adaptation is to have a good translation because the translation is the base of every project. So it's very important that the translator is a well translator, well translator, and have done a good job. So yeah, the adaptation process is very different from acting because when you do like a acting,
Yeah,
you focus mostly in acting and to start and finish where the original character has done his job,
yeah,
no. And with adaptation you have to like the word itself, to adapt the culture and the whole thing, like the whole package from one language to another. So the actor has to be very careful with his acting, with transfer the feeling of one actor to the Spanish audience.
yeah.
And the adaptation is more like adapting the culture, but with the
and
script.
and the lip sync.
Of course, yeah, and the lip sync. Yeah, in Spanish we have a lot of B's and V's. So so yeah, and we talk also. We speak very loud with the mouth wide open. So
And fast,
sometimes.
and
Yeah,
very
and
fast.
fast. Yeah, fast as well. Yeah. So yeah, it's a process of gaining experience
Sure,
in each project.
very interesting. Um, so I'm going to ask you a trick question, because I remember years ago when I was I was working for Warner Brother, and I came often to Spain to do the supervision of our dubbing for theatrical mainly. I realized that not not a lot of directors were speaking English.
Mm-hmm.
And this is something that surprised me because I was telling my colleague at the time. I said that if the director doesn't speak English, I understand the movie has been translated, has been adapted, but if you don't speak English, I mean, are you comfortable directing a movie if you don't understand what's going on? So it looks like things are changing now. More people speak English in Spain, a little bit like France. Is it correct?
Yes, yes, yes. It is correct. But I was gonna say that that's why you have to be very. The translation process is so important.
Yeah,
That's why the translator role is very important in this work, because we don't always work with English projects. It's very
that's a
important to
very
speak
good
in
point.
English. Yes, but we also have a lot of Italian material, or French, or German, or Korean. The Korean industry, the cinema, the Korean cinema industry is growing
Yeah,
very fast. So, and I don't know Korean, for example, or I don't know German. And I recently, for example, I did a TV series in Italian, and I don't know Italian as well. So that's why the translation is very important. And for the acting job, the music of each language is very important, because in English you don't have the same musicality as
absolutely.
Spanish, or French, or German. So yeah, knowing languages is good, but it's not necessary. So you have to hear it and hear the musicality to
Absolutely.
yeah.
I completely agree with you. I'm a musician myself. I perform regularly in Barcelona area, and uh, and I always say in the dubbing business, approximately three-quarters of the people come from music. It's a bunch of musicians.
Yeah,
Because if you tell me something like "Hello, good morning," I hear ta 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 ta, and for me it's like a music.
exactly,
So obviously,
exactly.
when you repeat that in dubbing, it's better. Tell me. Talking about translation and adaptation, everybody knows the difference. So you have a lot of countries where you do the adaptation in two steps. First, some people who do a literal translation, and from this literal translation, another person will do the adaptation
Yes,
with the picture for the lip sync and for the rest. Is it something that you guys are doing in Spain,
yes,
or so you have also two steps,
yes, yes.
translator and adapter?
Exactly. Yes, I'm as a director, I receive a translation of a project, and sometimes is a literal translation, but some translators are starting recently to try to adapt the jokes, like not putting them literally. So it's if they are a good translator, it helps. They
Yeah.
help adaptators. So
Hmm.
yeah, but we are like a team of two.
Yeah. So, and so far, no adapters are doing directly the adaptation
No,
from the other language. Okay, I
no,
understand.
mm-hmm, no.
Interesting. And it depends the countries, and
Yeah,
in a few countries like Italy, France, adapters do it in one
all the
shot.
job.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
they do the whole job. Well, it depends your process.
Yes,
Um, so you said something very interesting about not all the movies are in English because, like 15 years ago, most of the movies were in English. But
mm-hmm.
now you have more and more non-English movies. Obviously, that is more complicated for you because how many adapters would be able to adapt the movie from Korean to Spanish?
Yeah.
You don't find a lot of
It's a
people.
it's a tough work.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. So, and you speak English, obviously, so you know that most of the not most, all the Latin languages. We are talking about French, Italian, Spanish, Portuguese, Romanian, all these Latin languages. They are approximately 20-25% longer than English.
Yes.
So that's, I think that's one of the biggest challenges
Mm-hmm.
for an adapter, because the English is fantastic. It's a great language, very concise, very
Yes.
short, but it's practically impossible to say the same thing in Spanish.
Yeah.
So you have to
And
cut. You have to
yes,
cut
yes,
something.
always, always. In Spain, we love paraphrasing every time. It's like we say in three sentence we say the one thing, so one concept. And in English, it doesn't happen like that. So yeah, for I always think that in the Spanish projects, we in Spanish dubbing, we as voice actors, we are very direct, like we're very concise with for saying one concept. Yeah, so yeah, see, it's a culture thing, it's a cultural thing.
And here we have Carmen
Hello,
that
hello.
joined
How
the.
are you,
Hey,
friends?
so did you solve your
Hello.
technical problem, Carmen?
Yes, I had a problem. Yes. So
That's okay.
I'm
We
sorry. I'm sorry. I'm late.
No, it's okay. We
But
were
it's very
talking.
interesting that you're with Marina saying. It's
No,
very, very fantastic,
we
Marina.
already had a
Thanks.
great discussion.
Yes.
Uh, so, Carmen, introduce yourself very fast, because people don't know you. So I can just say that you are my colleague at TransPerfect and you are in Madrid. Tell us a little bit more in
Yes.
a few lines.
Yes, we have the transfer. I'm in Madrid, but we have a studio in Barcelona and Valencia, as you know. Before Transperfect was Lasso Studios, as you know.
La
And
Studio, everybody knows in Spain.
yes, since 6 years. Six
Yeah.
years. Yes, we are Transperfect.
That
Yes.
you are trust perfect. Yeah. Okay, great, Carmen. So, and you just said that you have, so obviously I know that because we are colleagues. So Madrid, Barcelona, and Valencia. Interesting. I think it's interesting for the people to know a little bit the differences, because in most of the countries you have several cities. You know, in
Yes.
China you have Beijing and Shanghai. In Italy you have Rome, Milano, Torino. In Germany you have Munich, Berlin, Cologne, etc. So in Spain you have Madrid, Barcelona, Valencia.
Valencia.
What's the difference? What's the difference? What is the biggest pool of
Oh,
actors?
yes. There is for us there is no difference between
No,
the studios
in
as
size. I'm talking
inside.
in
No, no.
size.
Uh, we have in Barcelona a studio. Barcelona, Madrid, and Valencia. We have 10 recording rooms. As you know, we are doing series, voiceover, features for theatrical and broadcast. And in Barcelona, we have also an Atmos cinema room for films mixes.
Yeah.
All of them are equipped with the latest technology. There is no
Yeah, of
difference
course.
between them. Yes,
But
so you know that.
I was more talking about the difference from the actor standpoint. Do you have more actors in Madrid at your
Now,
disposal, or do
in
you have more
Madrid,
actors in Barcelona?
no, in Madrid and Barcelona are similar. We have in
Okay,
Barcelona maybe no, yes, 700 dubbing actors, and Madrid the same. Not in Valencia. In Valencia, there are
smaller.
100 dubbing
Yeah,
actors approximately.
smaller
Yes, yes.
pool of actors. Yeah,
It's
yeah,
not,
yeah,
yes.
interesting. So now I have a question for Marina. So when you act as a director, because you also do that, when you act as a director, are you acting as like as a contractor? Meaning when Carmen is calling you and say, Marina, I have a project to dub. Uh, are you the one saying, oh, I think I should take this actor, this actor for the
Yeah,
job?
and,
So
and
you are choosing, you are helping to choose actors.
yeah, usually is the director who picks the cast, who choose the actors and think about what actor should be better for this role in specific. And sometimes the director, for example myself, um, could ask the studio for advisor,
Yeah,
for
yeah,
advice. So if I have doubts of who can do this kind of role, I usually ask Carmen, for example.
yeah.
Carmen, what do you think? You think that this actor could match this voice? And yeah, it's like a
Yeah,
teamwork.
and
Actually.
and there is another dimension also that is interesting. When I was at Warner, I was uh, I was sending the list of actors for the show to cast to Carmen, and she would propose me some people, and I was choosing because we were choosing the cast we wanted from what she proposed. But sometimes, I was seeing actors that were in another show, not necessarily dubbed by Lasso, but by another studio. And so, and we'll do another podcast on casting because this is very interesting. Uh, because from a client perspective, you don't want to
Yes,
have
that's
a
true.
show airing at 8 o'clock and a show airing at 10 o'clock with the same actors on
Yeah.
both. So sometime I was choosing actors in function of the schedule more than the voice or the acting part.
Yes, yes,
So
yes, that's true.
so
It's always interesting to have a mixture of all of the spectrum. Like there are a lot of people in Madrid who are unknown, who are not work as much as. And they're very talented.
yeah, of
So
course.
so it's always a good idea to give opportunities every time you have to new people. Yeah.
Yeah. So, because this is a podcast about adaptation, obviously, so we focus on adaptation. I'd like to understand what's the relation between. So, I start with Marina, and after we'll hear it from Carmen. What is your relation as an adapter, the relation with the director? How is it working? Do you because if I remember correctly, I'm talking about years ago, the translator or the director signs the translation,
Yeah,
correct?
yeah,
Uh,
the translator, and both the translator and the director. Yeah.
and the director. So, what is the adapter doing in this business?
Well,
Uh,
actually, the most of the time, the director and adaptator are the same person.
Mm.
ah, that's interesting.
Hmm.
So this
So
is
But
really
in Madrid,
something
but in
Spanish.
Madrid, we prefer the adapter. It's the same person that the director. I think it's very. Personally, I prefer because I think if the adapter is the same person that is going to be the director, he knows very well the
the
film
project,
or
Yeah,
the
the whole
series.
project.
Yes, I think. But
yeah, but
sometimes we can, yes, because sometimes, depending the delivery dates, of course, to the client, we need an adapter and a director. That's,
Yes. Yeah.
correct.
but
That's an
but
interesting.
I don't like that, sincerely.
Well, I mean, it's just a common process, but I think it's very Spanish because I rarely heard that the director and the adapter are the same person. In other countries, most of the time they are different person.
Mhm.
Because if you think about it, the skills are not the same. You direct, you already have your text, and you take care of of the emotion, of the acting part, of the lip sync, of the voice projection, everything you talk about direction. Uh, and the adapter is really about writing. Adapter is, I would say, is more a creator than the director. I'm
Yes.
very careful about what I say because the director is also creating a
Ah,
performance,
yes.
but the adapter is really writing a text.
Mm,
And that's why in most of the countries, and I think in Spain too, the translator owns the translation. It's their text, and you cannot just changing like that. It's like when you write a book, you know,
mhm,
by contract,
mhm,
the translator and the adapters are the one owning the
Yes.
translation, which
mhm.
makes sense because, and that's why they are considered as writers, because you rewrite a story.
Yeah.
Of course, you follow the original, but you rewrite a new story.
Mhm.
So if you think about it, the skills, the directing skill and the writing skills, it's very
Yeah.
different. It's
Yeah,
impact.
I know, but as Carmen said, I agree with her. It's like to have a sense,
It's
a
easier.
whole, yeah, a whole spectrum of the project.
Yes,
So
of
yeah, it's
course.
more complete.
Yes.
Interesting, very interesting. Let's talk a little bit about uh, Spain. Is is a country with a lot of different, I would not say languages, but variation of languages. Of course, I'm not even talking about the Catalan, that is another language compared to the Castilian. But I've been to Valencia. They don't speak like in Barcelona or in Madrid. And in most of the countries, you have local expressions, you know.
Hmm.
Yes.
So because when you write an adaptation, you have to think about the audience from Spain, not
Yeah,
from one region.
Yeah.
a
So
general audience.
yeah, how do you do that? Do you try to avoid very local expressions
Hmm.
and keep
Yeah,
more neutral?
I I always put the same example because I think it's perfect for this explanation. In the States, in the US, for example, they say I'm gonna call 911,
Yeah,
and here in Spain we say I'm gonna call 112.
112.
Like it's
Yeah,
the 112,
yeah,
no?
yeah.
And so the adaptator work would be to say I'm gonna call emergencies. Yes.
Interesting. Yeah,
Yeah.
and in
Yes.
this case, it's the whole story of adapting the units and adapting specific numbers. You know, when in an American movie, if you translate a Western, the guy is going to say let's say he's a hunter, and he sees a poster wanted for $10,000.
Yeah.
You are not going to say $10,000. You are going to, either way, if it's a story, a local story, you keep in dollars. If it's not, you could translate in euros, and
Oh.
but depending on the story, you have the
Yeah,
choice.
yeah,
So
but most of the time we always keep the money,
you keep the
the
units.
coin, the coin. Yeah, we always
Yeah,
respect the coin because it, we assume that we are not in Spain
correct,
with this
correct.
project
Especially for a
in
Western,
particular. Yeah, yeah.
the euro will not make sense.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's not very easy.
Exactly. So, but you're right, and you were talking about the culture. You know, when I do conferences, I always say you don't dub to a language, you dub to a culture. That's the most important to understand. Adaptation is just about that, and I'm happy we talk about that because. As you may know, and this podcast is for all the friends of the Dubbing Academy, we just released a new course on adaptation.
Hmm.
And we talk a lot about adaptation and with a lot of examples. And and talking about how people can misinterpret what's going on in the movie. Um, and for that, I'm talking in the course about the annotated script. So and this is a question also for Carmen, because she's the one receiving the script from the production. Are you receiving a lot of annotated scripts, or are you just receiving a
No,
normal
no,
script?
no. Usually, no. I don't. We don't receive annotated scripts. No, I
That's too
think
bad, because
no,
um,
no. But this we send the script to the translators. As if
yeah,
there are any
and there,
problem,
yeah.
we contact the client. But no, usually we have not commented
So
scripts.
I remind everybody, annotated script is a script with some annotation on the side,
Yes, for the translator. Mm.
explaining what it is.
Yes.
I remember when I was doing the series for Warner, the Ocean, Ocean 11, Ocean
Mm-hmm.
12, Ocean 13, all this movie with George Clooney. At a certain point, the guy is on the chief of the group is on the bed, and one of the guys is giving him a paper and a pen and saying, "Give me your John Hancock." So the translator, if you don't know the story of the United States, and if you don't know that John Hancock was the signatory of the Constitution, that
Mm-hmm.
means give me your signature.
Yeah.
And so this is typical, the kind of mistake that people do because they don't know.
Yeah.
And the annotation is very useful for that.
Mm-hmm.
Another one that was glorious was when I was handling the dubbing of Riverdale. Riverdale was a show on Netflix, and so Netflix was releasing the show, but it was a Warner production. So I was handling the dubbing, and at a certain point in the script, it's um, they are talking about Magnolia cupcakes. So, and the translator didn't understand that Magnolia cupcakes, it's a pastry, a big pastry on Melrose Boulevard in Los Angeles. And the script was, let's go to Magnolia cupcakes. And the translator did, let's go to eat some cakes with
So,
Magnolia perfume.
Correct.
So, and because it was so rushed, we were really anticipating we had to release before the US air date, so we didn't have an annotated script, and that's the kind of mistake that can happen. So obviously, when you have an annotated script, it's much better. But anyway,
Yes.
we have
So
what we
it
can.
was
yeah.
fantastic. If all the script we received, all the scripts
Yeah, but
were
that's why the translator has to be very analytic.
Exactly.
You don't have to
yes,
you don't
exactly.
have to take any word for granted
Correct.
in a script. So me as when I was a translator and when I adapt as a script, I always look every single word that I'm not sure why is there, and I have to look at the internet for
And
ensure
the
to that
context
yes.
of the sentence,
Yes.
obviously.
Yes, yes.
And it's okay to rewrite another sentence as long as it makes sense, it's
Mm-hmm.
still in the movie, it's in
Yeah,
sync, it's
yeah,
follow the
yeah.
uh, um,
Jacques, sometimes we receive also maybe a script from Latin
Ooh,
America, and we don't know, we don't understand sometimes how to translate in Castilian.
yeah.
absolutely,
And yes, that's right.
absolutely.
So yes, so
I remember when I was at Warner, I was doing the movie Storks. It was an animated for kids, a theatrical movie, and my colleague at the theatrical division had the great idea. It was for Latin America, and we say, okay, we are going to do a neutral Spanish, and after the two main characters, it was a little boy and a little girl, we are going to do that in Colombian, in Chilean, and in Mexican.
Mm.
So we had like four versions of the movie, one neutral and one just for these two characters, Chilean, Colombian, and Mexican. Because the expressions are not the same, they are young kids, so a lot of slang, and I thought that was a great idea. It
Mm-hmm.
was a lot of work, but and after I wrote an article on I think it's on Video Age or on another magazine about dubbing in Latin Spanish. I think the title was Dubbing in Spanish, but which Spanish? Because in Latin America you have a lot of Spanish.
Yeah.
Yes.
uh, do you do sometimes some adaptation for Latin America, or do you receive some products from Latin America?
No,
No, it's
No.
pretty rare, huh?
No.
no, no,
Yes.
no. Yeah, it's it. I always work with Spanish material. Yeah, with Spanish
Mm-hmm.
projects.
And I'm sure Carmen will remember that we are because we are from the same generation. In some Looney Tunes, very old Looney Tunes, were dubbed
Oh, yes.
in Mexico, and the Spanish were using these
The
Looney
dubbing
Tunes.
of yes of Mexico. Yes.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
the
For a long
Spanish
time, very long
for
time.
years, for like 20
Yes, for
years or
years,
something like
many
that.
years. Yes.
So what you were seeing on the Spanish TV was in fact the Mexican dub of the Looney Tunes.
Yeah,
And
no, and then Disney happens.
And this,
In
yes.
Disney happened the same. The very first movies, Disney movies are dubbed in Mexican and brought here
Yes.
in Mexican.
and I
It's
always wonder
neutral
why.
Spanish, neutral Spanish.
Ah,
Yeah,
yeah,
Spanish.
yeah,
Do
neutral
yeah,
you
Spanish.
remember,
yeah. But
Marina? Yes.
I'm
Mm-hmm.
sure I cannot tell the difference because my Spanish is not good enough. But I'm sure you guys can tell the difference.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
Yeah.
And I always wonder why, because the dubbing started approximately at the same time in the 40s, let's say, mainly in France and Germany, but Italy and Spain followed very fast.
Yes.
Maybe because under Franco the dubbing was more controlled by in France.
Yes.
I'm not sure. I don't know, but
Mm-hmm.
that's a specificity of Spain. That's good. So, are you? And this is a question for both of you. So we start with Marina as an adapter. Are you worried about AI and ChatGPT and all these things? And after we'll have the take on the take from Carmen.
Yes.
So go ahead, Marina.
No. As
Hold on,
in this
Carmen.
moment,
Let's
we
start
have
with
is the
hold
war
on.
in this moment.
No,
Let's start with
for
yeah,
Marina.
for a,
this
no, no,
nowadays
no.
it's well, it's it's a problem, but it's not a problem very
But
important yet because
not
it's not very trained, and hopefully it's not gonna be well trained for substitute an actor but yet, but yeah, it's a problem that it's growing, but it's not a threat.
Well,
I mean.
that 2 years ago when we had the big strike in the States,
Mm-hmm.
and I visited my ex-colleague, and I remember I was on the Warner lot and it was empty because everything was stopped. All the production was stopped. It was really amazing. I never saw the Warner lot so empty. And the strike was organized by the writers, but not the translators, the writers.
Mm-hmm.
So the people who write the shows. And I have to admit, it's probably more dangerous for the writers because when you write, well, you write a story, so you start from scratch. So if you have ChatGPT writing a story or you writing a story, it's going to start being difficult to see the difference. Now,
Yeah.
in your business, you start from something existing already and you have to adapt it.
Mm-hmm.
And with the lip sync, with the emotions.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's much more human, if you want.
Yes. Yes. About what you were saying about the screenwriters in the US, I read a quote some time ago that I liked, which said, ChatGPT could not write a good screenwrite,
Yeah.
because it doesn't have memories.
Yeah, it starts having memory, but for sure, it probably can start writing, but adapting it's a different story.
It's a
Uh,
different story, yeah.
as long
Mm.
and that's true that you are considered as writer, rightly so, but writing from something else,
Mhm.
not from scratch.
Yes.
Interesting. And Carmen, so tell me a little bit, what's your issue with AI?
Oh, in this moment, it's not very clear,
No,
actually.
it's
No,
not
it's
clear.
not very clear. I think we need a more legal.
Yeah, legal rules.
Yes, it's not easy for us, for a dubbing studio.
Yeah, no, no,
Of
you're right.
course.
You're right.
Maybe in the future, I don't know, that can help for the retakes, or maybe old voices in the new film. I don't know, but right now I think, of course, we are not using it because I think it's not, the point is not,
Absolutely. We are
actually.
not
Yes,
advocating
the
that. Yeah.
quality is not very good for
Yeah,
Spain,
on
I think.
top of
I
that,
don't
yeah.
know. I don't know. But yes, I know. It's a new technology. We don't know what's happen in the future. We
Well,
don't know.
and also the legal aspect of it is very important. I was reading this morning in the French, and I was looking at least also in the French news
Hmm.
that one of the major is released the trailer of, and I won't say the name of a big actor, and I won't even say the name. So, so the trailer was on a very well-known actor, American actor, dubbed in French, and the actor dubbing this character was is passed away a few years ago. So an AI company took his voice and cloned it and released a trailer, and it's not great. And on top of that, the daughter of this person is saying, "I never gave you the authorization." So we
Yes.
are right now back in the far west, in the 1800s, you know, because it looks like people do a little bit what they want, and hopefully in Europe we are a little bit more protected because the EU Act, AI Act, started to be in effect at the end of last year and needs to be completely in effect next year. And you are going to have a much more strict organization and
Mm-hmm.
rules about the
Hmm.
use
Mm-hmm.
of AI.
Yeah,
Uh,
it's very important, I think,
yeah,
to unite as a nation, as a community of countries, to fight for like in common, like with together.
yeah.
I think it's very important. Yeah.
Absolutely. So great. I think it's like almost 45 minutes in the podcast. It went like 5 minutes because great discussion. Do you have anything to add, like as a quick conclusion? Where do you see yourself in a few years? What's your future? We have to meet when I come in Madrid, when I
Yeah,
come
of
to
course.
Madrid. and continue the discussion.
Yes.
So what's your future? Continue
Well,
to do
my
adaptation?
yeah. Yeah, I recently started my career in adaptation and direction, so I hopefully uh, continue to this journey, which is wonderful so far. And yeah, in the voice actress world, I
So
think
you do you prefer to be an adapter or an actress?
I I want to dance with both.
You want to have two
Yeah, I
hats?
you don't have to stick in one. I like to discover new experiences.
Much more, yeah.
Yeah.
Less
Yeah, Jack,
boring.
is the new generation.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
Marina, she's
yeah, absolutely.
translator, she's adapter, she's dubbing
Yeah,
Yeah.
actress, and
it's
she's director. So is the
yeah,
future.
less
That's fine.
boring and much more creative.
Remember, in the past we haven't any director that speak any languages. Do you remember?
That's what I was saying
And now,
earlier.
yes, and now we have director that speak French or English, other than languages, and that's very, very nice for us.
So
Yes, thank you,
Carmen,
Marina.
what's the
Thank you to
future
you,
for
Carmen.
the studios in Madrid and Barcelona and Valencia? Are you going to go to another country? I don't know,
No,
Granada.
I think that's enough with the three studio
You put a
in the
dubbing
three cities.
studio in the Alhambra. The
Yes.
acoustic is fantastic.
No, that's fine. That's fine. That's great. Yes, thank you.
Okay. So, Marina, thank you so much. Carmen, thank you so
thank,
much. It was
thank you for
episode
having
number,
me.
sure.
Thanks to you, Jack.
It,
See you soon.
it was episode number 18, and we'll see everybody for the episode number 19. Thank you very much, everybody. Talk to
Thank you.
you soon.
Bye
Bye bye.
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 Thanks.
Thanks a lot. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.